So if I paid $1,200 for insurance, what two accounts did I just affect?
The
Cash and the insurance. What happens to cash? Goes down. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do $1,200 subtract. It gets me 72.23. All right. So if I subtracted $1,200 there, I'm going to add it to my insurance. So nothing's going to happen here, right? So I'm going to bring down my 1577. Everybody good with that? But I'm going to add 1,200 to this insurance. So I'm going to have 1,200 here. Nothing happened over here. So it's still 10,000. See how I'm still trying to keep my totals all together on the same line? The good part is when you all see this on Google Sheets, you'll see like you have to type in the right line. It makes it a little bit easier to keep it lined up because it, you know, when I'm writing on the board, I'm kind of everywhere. So, sorry. All right. Going to introduce another account. We talked about it yesterday. Let me kind of scoot it over a little bit. There we go. All right, so what did we say liabilities were? Something we owe, right? All right, so it says on August the 7th, we bought some supplies. So do we have more supplies or less supplies?
More.
Now, more supplies on accounts. That means, did I pay cash for it? Do you see the word cash in that sentence anyway? No. So does it affect cash in any way whatsoever? No. So we're not going to do anything with cash. We're buying it on account. That means AP, accounts payable. And we have to keep our accounts payable all separate because you're going to have multiple accounts payable. See how they've got AP Ling? That's because you might have an AP something else later. So you'll have multiple APs. So I'm going to go ahead and say AP Ling right here. See how I do A/P? That's how we do accounts payable. So if we bought supplies, what happens to supplies? Since, you know, I told you to always go with cash first, there's no cash. So think of something else you have that you can think of physically that you have more of it. We're going to add to our supplies. So I'm going to go right here. How much was it? 27.20. So my cash didn't do anything. It stayed the same. My supplies ends up being $42.97. Nothing happened to my insurance. Did anything happen to AP?
Yes.
Okay, so what happened to AP? It went up also. Now, a second ago, we had them going up and going down. But they're on opposite sides of the equal sign, so they got to do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
To stay equal. So do I have more or less AP?
More.
So I'm going to add 27.20. So now I have 27.20. And nothing happened to my capital. So I still have 10,000 in my capital. Make sense? Okay, so on the 11th, 4 days later, we paid cash on account to Link. So we owe them $27.20. We're going to pay them half of what we owe them. So I'm going to subtract from cash, right? Is it $13.60?
Yeah.
Which leaves me $58.63. All right. Did anything happen to supplies in this thing?
No.
No, because we already bought the supplies. This has nothing to really do with supplies. So my supplies are still going to be $42.97. Nothing to do with insurance, so it's still $1,200. But we paid off part of what we owed, right?
Yeah.
So what's going to happen to AP? Subtract. So I'm going to go, now I have $13.60 there, right? Because I paid half of it. And nothing happened over here, so I've still got 10,000. Am I still balanced? If I were to add those up, I would be still balanced. And on some of the homework, you do have to add them up to make sure that you're right. And that's how you'll know if you're right. They have to equal. Each side has to equal. If they don't, you've done something wrong. Make some sense?
Yeah.
So what's a transaction?
Thing where things get traded.
That's a good way to describe it, yeah. It affects the accounts, definitely. So an account is, like the name of the specific account titles would be those, right? The accounts are the topics. So like cash is an account, and the account title is named cash, right? The account balance, each time you make a transaction, you have a new account balance, right? That makes sense? And capital, that ownership of the business, yeah. And so far, capital hasn't changed. It will later, okay, I promise. But right now, capital has not changed, okay? Everybody good?
I think so.
Let's get out the work together then. Please tell me it's blank. Because I was having issues a while ago with it.
It is blank, but there's 2 sheets.
There's 2. I only see one.
It says one.
One's worked together and one's on your own. Now, is everybody's on the set? Like if I click on this, does everybody see that or is it separate? Like does everybody have their own? Okay, good. Because last year it was messed up. So I hoped that I had fixed it, but I really wasn't sure if I'd fixed it. So, all right. For the work together, you need to turn to page 12 in your books. Now we're not going to do numbers in the work together and the on your own. We're going to do numbers in the application problem. I think that's kind of strange that they do it this way, but that's just how they do it. So in your book, turn to page 12. And what we're going to do is we're going to put pluses and minuses in the columns that it goes in. Like they didn't even separate it. I really don't like this work together. I'll just be honest. I think they could have done a lot better, but it's okay. We're going to deal with it. If you bought supplies on account, where is it going to go up? Is it going to go up in the assets, liabilities, owner's equity, where?
Up in the ass.
So I'm going to do a plus right there in my assets. Actually, I'm not going to do a plus because it makes you want to do a formula. Let's do an X because we can't. Because if you do a plus, it makes you want to do a formula, and we're not doing formulas. Where's going to be the minus? Because you know we got to have a minus in the liabilities. There you go. Now everybody kind of understand what we're doing? All right, the next one is receive cash from the owner as an investment. Where's the plus? Or where's one of the pluses, I guess I should say. We're going to definitely have one in owner's equity. Where else are we going to have it? In assets, because cash is an asset. Those 2 accounts are what are affected, right? Okay. The third one, pay cash for insurance. Assets are going to happen. Do what? What's going to happen in asset?
Assets are going to go down.
One's going to go up and one's going to go down, right? So we're going to do an X and a minus right beside it. Because one's going up, one's going down. And the last one, paid cash on account. So liabilities are going to do what?
Go down.
Go down. And actually, this was supposed to be up. I don't know why I put a minus there. That's not bad. And what's going to happen to assets? Also go down. You got it. Everybody good with the work together? We're not going to do the on your own. Yeah, it should have been a plus. That was my bad. Wasn't it? Isn't that what it was? No, never mind. It was paid up. It was bought supplies on account. It should have gone up too. That was my bad because I read it wrong earlier. I was thinking of something else. I told you wrong. So, all right. So let's open up the application problem. Open up 1, 2, and let's talk through this because you're actually using the numbers, and I want to make sure you understand how this works. So on page 17 in your book is where the problem is. So turn to page 17 in your book. Now, does that look a little bit more like what we did?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But let's work through this so you understand how these rows and columns work. So they did number 1 for you. You'll see at the beginning balance, everything was 0, right? Because we hadn't done anything. If you read in the book, Number 1 says you receive cash from the owner as an investment of $2,000. So do you see how they put $2,000 in the cash and $2,000 in the capital, and then they brought down their balances in that next row? Does that make sense how they did that? So let's do the next one together, and then I'm gonna have you on your own after that. So number 2 says you paid cash for insurance of $600. All right, so we paid cash. Cash is gonna go down. So let's talk about formulas here for a second. Everybody watching? So I'm not gonna do minus 600 because I'm gonna do the formula underneath it with the minus in it. Because if I do a minus 600, you'd have to do a plus to make the math work. So I'm gonna have $600 in cash going away, right? And what did I buy? Read number 2 in the book.
Insurance.
I bought insurance. So where else am I gonna have 600?
Prepaid insurance.
Prepaid insurance. Okay. So what am I gonna do in my new balance? I'm gonna make a formula. I'm gonna do equals, and I'm gonna just click on B5, and I'm gonna subtract B6. So if you were in digital literacy last year, you know exactly what I'm doing. Those of you that have not been in digital literacy yet, if you're having trouble with it, call me over there and I'll help you work on that, okay? So what we're doing is we're using a formula. So by clicking the equal sign, that starts a formula, okay? So if you click the equal sign, and then all I did is I clicked in that B5 box. I just put my mouse on it and I clicked it. Then I subtracted because I'm paying cash. Had I been adding cash, I'd have just put a plus there. Would have done the same thing. And when I press equals, it does the formula for me. Any questions? Those of you that are not digital literacy, you can mess there. Okay, so what you're gonna do is just write 600 there. Okay. Then we'll go down to your new balance, and you're gonna use the formula. Equals. Because it's B5. Yeah. Now press equal. And it does the math for you. I'm sorry. Say it is. And you do not want to suggest an autofill because the things are going to be different. Some are going to be adding and some are going to be subtracting. So don't do the suggested autofill. Just take it again. Then you're going to go over here and do 600 there. And because you're only adding it. Got her, Emma. Do I have that? No, you don't have to. This is mine. Oh, now you're on the, that one's right. This one. I'm not worried. I'm not worried. Oh. There. Now it's right. Close that. That's what I'm worried about. This one I'm not that worried about. Alright, so don't forget to bring down. So once we press the enter button, it gives us our formula. Or gives us our answer. And like I said, don't do the suggested fill. I'm going to go ahead and bring down my 600 right here because there was nothing to add. Bring down your zeros in all the places that were zeros. And I'm going to bring down my 2,000 from over here. So does everybody see that I have to keep, even if it's a zero, I still got to bring my balances down. Then you're going to go on to transaction 3 and do the same thing. Does everybody understand how this works now a little bit better? If you need me, I'm going to be walking around. We're doing application 1-2 and 1-3. When you get to the bottom, make sure all your assets equal all your liabilities and your owner's equity. Like do a little formula over to the side, add those 3 numbers, make sure they equal. So let's work. Okay. So what was transaction 2? You're not even on the right page in the book. You gotta get to the right page so you know what's going on. Page 17. Okay, so read number 2. So if you pay the cash, we get $600, right? And so what we're doing is we're doing formulas in the next balance, what we put it in. So you do equals, and then you click on the 2,000. And then are you subtracting or are you adding? Paid cash. There you go. So you would minus, and you're minusing whatever you paid in cash, which is, so you click on that box.
But if you've already done it,
Down, press it. And look, it did it. Okay. So now, if $600 cash was gone away, you bought insurance, what other account does it affect? You bought insurance.
I add
To where?
the
You bought you bought insurance. You bought insurance. There you go, you bought insurance. So on the same transaction line, you have 600 there. And then you can just bring that number down, you're not adding it, you're just adding it to 0, so you can just type 600. Now, this number has to keep coming down too. It had to stay on the balance. There you go. Now you go to transaction 3. Bought supplies on account from Swan Supply. So what 2 accounts are gonna be affected?
supplies and unpaid insurance.
Does it say the word insurance in that sentence?
No,
Or is it insurance? What words does it say?
supplies
And,
and account.
Swan Supply Company. Do you see that up there?
Yeah.
There you go. So you know that those 2 accounts, supplies and swans, are gonna be affected. Does that help? Okay. Okay. So, this is just a balance. So you have a new balance and new transaction, new balance transaction. So now you can bring down all your numbers. So like you bring 600, then you bring 0. Bring 0. You got it, right? So now I'm gonna do transaction 3. So what is transaction 3? So what 2 accounts are in there? And you. So this one has 200, you just come down. You wouldn't do anything else. There you go. So that, there's nothing affecting that. The everybody listen for a second. The transaction line over on the left should only have 2 numbers in it. Like on that row, just the 2 things that are affected. The balance should be all the way full, whether it's 0 or whether it's a number. Does that kind of help a little? So, we bought supplies, how much supplies? Okay. So then that brings, did it affect insurance? So, for example, you're not. There you go. But it did affect Swan, right? So, if I go to the transaction, what did it do to the Swan? So, now what's in the balance? There you go. That cleared up a little. This one says one and this one, right, it'll tell you. It gives you the name, so don't stress about that too much, okay? Okay, only on transactions should you have 2 things. Everybody listen, I'm seeing like right here, you've got 4 things on transaction. It should only have 2 things. Balances is only where you bring balances down. You have to do that. There's another one on the front there. And it's on the little platform. But always double check when you get done. Double check your assets and your liabilities before you move on any further.
Mr. Sal.
Did you have a question? Number 3 is not cash. Read what it says. You bought supplies. So it has nothing to do with cash. It's cash in that sentence. Well, that has nothing to do with cash, so you just don't do anything, no. You just don't do anything. You just bring your number down. You just bring your 1,400 down. But what did it affect? You got your 100 here. But what else did it affect? You bought supplies. There you go, but up one on the transaction. There you go. I don't know what that 500 is, so I would never that. That should not be there. Bring your balances down now. You got 100 here, 600 here, 100 here, 0 there, and 2,000 there. No, don't copy it. Just write it. No, on the new balance. Read what it says. New balance, transaction. Everybody listen. I've said this 3 times, and I'm still finding people doing it. Transactions will only have 2 things because you're only affecting 2 things in a transaction. Balance will be full. Every box will have a number in it, whether it's 0 or the new balance. That's why it's called the balance row. Okay? Everybody making some sense? If you're struggling today, just come here. You're going to be struggling the rest of the year. Because this is like the easiest stuff we do.
What if you pay cash on account?
Well, what's it affect?
The account.
And there you go.
What's here, go to this,
You gotta do both of them and then you turn.
Then we go to what's all over.
No, we're not gonna do that. I'm sorry, can I get you back? Yep, you got it. No, you don't have to do the plus signs because what's gonna happen is you're doing it in the formula. Yeah, that's exactly right. Because if I had done the minus, then I would have had to make you do the formula as a plus because you have a minus and then I did that to confuse people even more. Yeah, and you can do it in here, but later on, you're gonna wanna use formulas, I promise. That's why I'm trying to make y'all kind of do the formulas. Yep, if you've got it right, move on to 1, 2. Okay, which one?
On all of them.
You bought supplies on account, so your supplies is going up.
Okay.
Every time you buy supplies, it's going up. It has nothing to do with cash, and we've been putting it in cash. Cash has nothing to do with it. There will only be 2 things on a transaction. Did you just does that make more sense now?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. I don't know, add them up. Add these 3 and add these 3 and see if they equal. They're supposed to. That's how you'll know if you're right. That's how you know. Because your formula has to stay equal. Yep. 1,200 for insurance. And you paid it, so. You paid it, what'd you pay it with? The word may not be there, but think realistically, what did you get back? Yeah. Just because the word's not there, think about it. Like, what are you really doing? Yes. All right, you subtract. Right. The other one down. Make more sense now? Okay. Yeah, you totally messed up on the transaction 3. You should not have 5 things. I don't know why you have, I'm not sure why you have this. I'm not sure why you have this. And you shouldn't have that. Transaction 3 with only these 2 things. That should be 100. That should be 100. And that should be 0. There's your balance.
Okay, so now that I'm to this.
Number 4, so you bought supplies on account. So
So I would do
it's 500.
500, then I add 500 to supplies, and then 600.
Take out that.
I like,
No. You would put 500. It's got to equal that.
oh, it does?
Then you put in the balance the 600.
Okay,
Transactions are just whatever it says over here.
okay.
The balances are adding these up.
Yeah.
So 1,400, 600 on the next, 100, 500, the 2,000. Well, not added.
Well, yeah, no,
Bring it,
okay,
yeah.
bring it down, sorry.
So you pay tax. You pay tax.
Pay tax,
One page.
receive tax.
Some big scroll, this page. Always look at the.
Oh, crap.
I'm starting to get it.
Starting to get it?
Yeah.
So like this
Didn't
is,
equal?
yeah, these are.
Okay, let's see where you are. 2,000. Pay 100, down to 1,400. And then we paid 100, that got us down to 1,300. And then, yeah, you got some.
Oh.
And then you paid 300, so you got 300. Then you pay cash at 500. And then you see that one's right. Okay, so that one's right. Then we had 100, 600. And then you pay cash for supplies, that would have added 100. That was right. That had nothing to do with that. Oh. We added them. 2,700. 1,000 plus 1,100 plus 600 is 27.
Yeah, but this is not.
Oh, yeah. That's second.
Yeah.
So where are we missing 1,000? $27. So something you've written wrong. Oh, I know what it is. You received cash from the vendor. Yeah,
Oh.
because you received it. That makes more sense? Yeah. I just gotta, like, throw it in my head and figure it out. Yep. Yep, when you're done, turn it in.
I don't know what it's wrong, but it's not adding up properly, but I followed everything anyway.
$500 should be added to, you received $500.
Oh, I thought this was kind of like cash.
It does, but when you're adding on this side, you also have to add on that side.
Oh.
Keep your accounting account equal.
I've got a flash.
Don't worry about it. You can just click turn in, it's fine.
Hey,
Coming this way, I'm around the circle.
whoa.
So far, no. That 1,400 should have been brought down to the balance. You don't do anything with it, you still bring it down to the balance. Okay? And then you can still bring this one down, you can still get that. So then your transaction was $100, number 5, and you paid. There you go. I'll clear it up a little bit. So you'll just need to go through all of them and just double check. Yes. No. That was good. You should have done all, you should have had 8 transactions.
Oh, this one.
So all that is right for what you have. Yes, those are all correct. Did you not do these 3? Did you not see them? Okay, so do those 3 and then you'll have it.
Now I'm confused.
Yes, it does. That's 2,700 and that's 2,700.
It doesn't look like it. And I had to look over.
25 plus 2 is 27. 1,000 plus 11 is 21 plus 6 is 27.
A little bit early to do once you miss them out.
Are you lost?
Yeah, I got this thing done, but
No, you don't.
no, this.
You got to do them all at the same time. No, and that some of those aren't right because the cash is not affected by all those. Highlight up to get rid of all that. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's up there. Okay. Bring down your 0.
No.
Bring down your 0. Bring down your 0. All right, transaction 3. Bought supplies on account. What 2 accounts are affected?
Supplies and cash.
Does it say the word cash in that sentence anywhere?
Oh, no. Supplies and account payable.
Okay, which one? Swans, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you bought supplies, what's gonna happen to supplies? They're gonna
Yeah.
go up or gonna go down?
Down.
You bought.
Oh,
Will somebody click my alarm, please?
up.
So we'd have $100 there, right?
Yeah.
So if we bought it there, from what company?
Swans.
Okay, so put it in Swans. That's York. There you go.
100.
Mm-hmm. So did it affect cash? No. So we're gonna bring down our 1,400 to that new balance. We're gonna bring 100 down. We're gonna bring the 600 down because nothing affected those. We're gonna bring the 100. We're gonna bring 0, and we're gonna bring 2,000. Make a little bit more sense?
Yeah.
All right, transaction 4, you bought supplies from York Company this time. So what's going to happen to, okay, so no, in transaction 4, it's 500.
500.
And you bought supplies, so, okay. So now what happens to cash?
It's gonna go,
It stays the same.
yeah.
So we're going to put 1,400, new balance. What happened to supplies?
It went up
Okay, so we have now
600.
There you go. Now we have 600 in prepaid insurance still. We still have 100 in Swan. Now we have how much in York? 500. And then we still have how much in Capital?
2,000.
There you go. Does that kind of help a little?
Yeah.
If you are not done with 1, 2, and 1, 3, you really probably got to take the book home. Or if you want to take a picture of this with your phone, so that you can finish it, because we're gonna really be moving on Monday. Time to go, okay? If you wanna take a picture of it, that's fine. Don't forget to put your books up.
56. Appreciation of values.
Not until number 2, accounting 2. Yep, that's all you have to do. And if you only have like one, don't go last. Yeah.